Welcome back to another episode of Doing Philosophy, where I'm focusing on epistemology as part of my lecture series on epistemology, my course on epistemology. Previously looked at John Locke. Ooh, there's lots of confusion there. It's getting a little more challenging now. We looked at John Locke, the father of modern empiricism, and now we're going to turn our attention to George Berkeley. Berkeley begins by looking at Locke. Well, he's doing philosophy, he's looking at everyone, but he looks at Locke and gets the idea that Locke is not going deep enough into empiricism. So George Berkeley comes in to look at empiricism and comes up with a unique version of empiricism. He begins his work in his writing. I'm speaking of, in his writing, he begins by first criticizing Locke. First is the idea of the fundamental substance. If the fundamental substance is matter, remember, empirically you can't experience it. Locke calls it a vague and obscure idea. Berkeley responds by saying, well, it's a contradiction. And that does not make sense right now. Give me a few minutes, it'll make sense. Well, the reason Berkeley says a contradiction because he has a different fundamental substance. And the two fundamental substances are so at odds with each other, it's a contradiction. Then Berkeley also notes that Locke wants us to observe things in the world, and Locke's right that these things we observe in the world, their primary and secondary qualities in the observation are together. But yet Locke split them up. He put the primary qualities in the world and the secondary qualities only in the mind. Berkeley says, no. These things need to be together. Leave them both outside the mind or toss them both inside the mind, okay? Outside the mind or inside the mind. They should be together because in experience, we experience them as inseparable. We should leave them metaphysically in that way. So now we're going to look at what Berkeley does to actually answer these or provide his own answer to these challenges that Locke has in his theory. The first thing Berkeley does is say, look, when speaking primary, secondary qualities, they're on the same level. Not one is superior to the other. They're on the exact same level. They're equal. Okay, let's put it that way. They are equal. Why? Because they're both produced by the fundamental substance. They're both produced by fundamental. So the fundamental material, matter, whatever it could be, actually produce these things. The fundamental substance produce these things. That is not too far-fetched in a certain sense. It's not too far-fetched in the sense that in Locke's theory of empiricism, you're sitting there and you're experiencing something that's forming in the mind. So if you're sitting there, something's forming in the mind, then the fundamental substance can actually, it's transmitting this stuff to you, and the shape and the color can be formed inside your mind. In fact, that's exactly the Berkeley's approach. Since it's coming into your mind, it's forming in the mind, what you have in your mind is what you have in your mind, period. It's a transmission, right? Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the source of this transmission? What's the source of the transmission? And Berkeley reasoned that the source of the transmission is what he calls a superior mind. Now, and what do I mean by that? It's hard for me to present this idea of the superior mind right now. We're talking about the age of enlightenment. Science is becoming more popular in society, more respectable. And this philosopher introduced the idea of a superior mind. If you follow me with my study in metaphysics, this is an idea that would come from the philosopher Anaxagoras, nous in the mind, the universal mind. And so how could you be commingling these things, right, at this stage of development? In reality, many of the scientific community believe in religion for quite a while, actually. In fact, many of the great ideas of the philosophers was not accepted till much later because the community over there, the scientific community, so much believed in these kind of mystical kind of things, right? And so, and philosophers, we're a complete house. We have our mystics, we have the materialists, the transcendentalists, all in one. We can just have different departments, right? But so let me show you where he has this idea of a superior mind. It's a moment of genius, actually. These are paraphrases that come from his writing directly. So I didn't reconstruct the argument using my own words. I just paraphrase some statements here. Ideas are production of mind and are similar only to other ideas. Okay, that's Berkeley. Ideas are production of mind and are similar only to other ideas. This is a trivially true statement. It's the way I use the concept of ideas since the beginning. In all my lectures, idea means information in the mind. When you call it an idea, you've localized it, compartmentalized that idea, and you're going to say it's an opinion, a belief, or knowledge, or just information you're interested in. The only true source of ideas is the mind. Now, this is another common sense view that everyone have long before they enter my classroom. That when we say an idea, some human being has it. Your dog don't have ideas, and your computer don't have ideas. The concept of AI, we have a lot of AI machines, but many in the community of computer science and some philosophy, they're looking for eventually AGI, general intelligence. That's going to be like human. It's going to mimic human intelligence, but also they're believing that it may become like conscious, okay? And in that sense, it'll have its own original ideas. We still posit ideas, original ideas, to human minds. No matter how sophisticated a program is of any AI, even if it mimics human, imitates human thinking, it's always not going to be a genuine idea. It's just going to be the way it manipulates the ideas, the information has been given by humans. It's kind of odd to say it like that, but that's exactly what we're looking at. Now, these first two statements are statements you know to be true even before you enter my classroom. This last statement, however, is not trivially true. This is Berkeley's insight. He says the ideas of sensation must come from the mind. Remember in John Locke's theory, light travels from the object and hit the sense receptors and causing a sensation. So you imagine the light hitting there. But Berkeley says, no, there's something else going on here, all right? I can illustrate it using technology. Take out your cell phone and take a picture. Take a picture in the room. I'll take out my phone here and I'll take a picture, okay? Let's see, I'll take a picture. Let me see here. I'll take a picture. All right, boom. I have a picture. There's a picture on the wall, the calendar, you know what I mean? Okay. When you look at that picture and you look at the wall, how did that wall get into this my camera? How did it? This is Berkeley's moment of genius. There is no cameras. There is no technology. There are no computers. This is the moment of genius. He realizes that in his mind, when he looks at the memory of the wall or the object in the world, it's a whole and complete object. So if I believe light, empty light is traveling to me, this would be a falsehood, because how else would this thing get in my mind? And this is illustrated by the camera. At this moment, these philosophers are seeing the camera-like nature of the mind. Maybe not just a camera like this, but also a recording camera, a filming camera, okay? So they're realizing that this man is realizing I have the information here. When I look at my memory, it's whole and complete. So where's it coming from? I'm not drawing it. It must come from the outside. So this light, when it strikes upon me, we're saying it has a sensation. It must be carrying the ideas. I'm using modern word now. It must be carrying the ideas. So there we say it's carrying the data. It's a data stream. And so then using modern language, I say it decodes in here and now has the empirical ideas. This is a moment of genius. This is a moment of genius that leads him to his grand conclusion. Look, he says, look, in my mind, I have ideas about many things, my house, where I work, my family, my friends, all these ideas. I look up in the sky. I have so many ideas inside my head from my life experiences. If ideas are traveling to me, okay, first of all, they must come from an idea because ideas exist only in the mind. So if they're traveling to me, they must be in a mind out there. What kind of mind? A very huge mind, a superior mind. Because once you make the move that the ideas are traveling through me, we call it data and the light, that the source of it must be a mind, but the traveling itself must somehow be in the mind. So he comes to the conclusion this is a superior mind idea because for all these different factors. You may not like this conclusion, but it's a brilliant conclusion. And let me illustrate to you another way besides my camera. When you look at a television set, you at home looking at your TV, it worked just the way this man is saying here long before we had this electronic stuff going on, long before that. You're sitting there looking at TV, you're hearing things, you're seeing things, and it's real. And if you have one of these expensive and widescreen TV, it's really, really believable. It's so clear cut. It's really happening. And there's a transmission to your television set, and your television set is decoding it. Modern psychology has come to a similar conclusion about the human brain. The brain is decoding signals. If the brain is decoding the signals the way much of modern psychology puts forth, they are exactly, in using scientific language, agreeing with George Berkeley. Okay, that if the world around you, or you think you're seeing, is produced by your mind, how do you know the mind is really, really there? We're going to call this in the idealism. But first, let me pause for a second. Berkeley's full name is the Honorable Bishop George Berkeley. He was a man of the cloth. And when he saw that Locke's theory was talking about reality, and Locke claimed to believe in God, but God didn't appear anywhere in his theory, Berkeley, being an intellectual himself, decided to take a close look. And when he looked, saw a superior mind, he didn't bring God in his argument directly, okay? But when he saw a superior mind, he thought that was his God in the background. But upon close examination by scholars, they realized that is not the Christian concept of God. In the Christian concept of God, there's God and there's the world that God creates, okay? In Berkeleyan concept, because the whole world is inside the mind, that is not the Christian concept. In Berkeley's world, we are all ideas in the mind of God. I'm an idea, you're an idea, the computer's an idea, the world's an idea. We're all ideas in the mind of God. We're generated by the mind. And that is not the Christian concept. But because the man of the cloth, many people did not actually see that directly. So we call this metaphysical idealism, the belief that the world around you is structured as structured is based fundamentally on ideas, like light in the bottom. Can you say it's right or wrong? You cannot. Because remember with Locke, you have a belief in matter. You don't know the world is made of matter. So if you say it's made of ideas, you say it's not matter down there, it's kind of some kind of light show, some kind of energy. And if you look at modern science, quantum mechanics, they talk more like Berkeley. There's energy there. All is energy. When you talk like that, you're talking just like Berkeley. Although these theories sound bizarre, as modern science has progressed, they sound more and more like Berkeley. So I'm looking at things in the world. Some people say, I hear some physicists say this, I shouldn't see them as just physical object and there's some glob of matter like atoms down there. The atoms themselves are made of waves of light, energy. So therefore, I should see them as waves. The particle is a momentary state. They're just waves, they're called, all right? And so therefore, it's an idealism. If you interpret science in this kind of way, you see that, remember, this is way before this occurs. So although this may seem bizarre, it still, in some ways, resembles what you're having in the sciences.